Hey everyone, Season 32 just started in the Chinese server and they released a new fighter hero, Allain. Well, technically Allain is not a new hero, because he originally came from Arena of Valor. This is the first time Arena of Valor's original hero released in honor of kings. Usually it is the other way around, because most of the AOV's hero are based on honor of king's heroes' skills and passive. Allain has the same exact skills and passive from AOV. Now let's talk about his passive skill. Allain's passive skill revolves around anger accumulation. Whenever he successfully lands basic attacks or skill hits on enemy heroes, his anger builds up. This anger accumulation grants him several benefits. He gains a maximum of 40% physical and magic penetration, enabling him to bypass a significant portion of his opponent's defenses. Additionally, he enjoys a 20% damage reduction, making him more resilient in combat. Moreover, as Allain's anger reaches its peak, he triggers a one-time recovery effect. The amount of health restored increases as his own health decreases, potentially granting him up to 3 times the normal recovery. However, this recovery ability has a cooldown of 8 seconds, ensuring it cannot be repeatedly abused. Allain's lifesteal capability is noteworthy as well. He possesses a physical lifesteal effect that operates at 75% effectiveness. This lifesteal feature enhances his sustainability and survivability in prolonged fights. Lastly, it's important to note that Allain's basic attacks have a reduced impact when it comes to the magic damage. He can only deal 60% of the usual magic damage. This indicates that his magical power is somewhat diminished when compared to his other abilities. Overall, Allain's passive skill set allows him to dish out rapid dual-blade strikes, accumulate anger for increased penetration and damage reduction, restore health in critical moments, and sustain himself through lifesteal. Allain's first skill is called Meteor Slash. When Allain uses this skill, he performs an upward strike that deals spell damage to the target in front of him. The target is knocked into the air for a duration of 0.75 seconds. After the initial strike, Allain proceeds with additional attacks based on the number of marks he has accumulated. At the first stage, he delivers 2 additional attacks that deal physical damage. Moving on to the second stage, he inflicts spell damage along with 1 additional instance of physical damage. The third stage of Meteor Slash expands the knock-up range and adds 1 more instance of spell damage and physical damage. This stage can be cast slowly, allowing for precise timing. Once Allain reaches the 4th stage of Meteor Slash, the knock-up range expands even further. He adds extra physical damage and true damage to his attacks. Additionally, during this stage, he gains the ability to move slowly while releasing the skill, giving him flexibility in positioning. By accumulating mark layers, which are obtained through basic attacks and landing hits with his other skills, Allain can access these different stages of Meteor Slash. It's worth noting that Meteor Slash triggers 50% of Allain's general attacks as magic damage, providing a mix of physical and magical damage output. Furthermore, it has the potential to critically hit and benefit from lifesteal, allowing Allain to recover health based on the damage dealt. Overall, Allain's first skill, Meteor Slash, grants him a versatile and devastating attack that combines spell damage, physical damage, knock-up effects, and the ability to move while casting. Allain's second skill is called Moonflash. When he uses this skill, he swiftly dashes towards a designated direction. As he moves, he inflicts physical and magic damage to enemies in his path. Additionally, the affected enemies experience a movement speed reduction for a duration of 1.5 seconds, slowing down their mobility. Moonflash also grants Allain a buff that enhances his basic attacks. After using Moonflash, his next 4 basic attacks gain an increase in attack speed. It's important to note that Allain can stack up to a maximum of 2 instances of Moonflash. This means that if he doesn't use the skill immediately after activating it, he can store an additional use of Moonflash for later, enabling him to unleash multiple dashes and attacks consecutively if needed. Overall, Allain's second skill, Moonflash, provides him with mobility, damage, and attack speed benefits. It allows him to quickly reposition himself, damage enemies in his path, and follow up with a series of rapid basic attacks. This skill enhances Allain's agility and make him more formidable in engagement. Allain's ultimate skill is called Death at Sunset. When Allain activates his ultimate, he selects a target hero and jumps to the sky, becoming untargetable for a duration of 1.5 seconds. During this time, Allain can freely move around the battlefield. Once the duration ends, Allain slams on the ground, dealing both physical and spell damage. The damage inflicted increases based on the range proximity of the enemy hero to Allain, reaching a maximum of 100% damage when they are closest to him. Additionally, when Allain's ultimate hits enemy heroes, he gains mark stacks and rage. These stacks and rage contribute to Allain's other abilities and empower him in combat. The effects of Allain's ultimate vary based on the selected target. If it is an enemy hero, they experience deceleration, reducing their movement speed. If Allain selects an ally as the target, they receive acceleration, boosting their movement speed instead. Furthermore, while Allain is in the air and untargetable, he gains a 25% increase in shield. This means that any shield he has active during this period becomes more potent, providing him with increased protection. Importantly, Allain's ultimate can be used on both allies and enemies, allowing him to either deal damage and disrupt enemy champions. To summarize, Allain's ultimate skill, Death at Sunset, grants him the ability to temporarily becoming untargetable, dealing heavy damage. It provides various benefits such as increased mark stacks, rage generation, increased shield value, and the versatility to use it on both allies and enemies. This ultimate skill solidifies Allain's role as a versatile and impactful hero in team fights. Overall, Allain is a versatile hero who excels in close quarters combat. With his swift attacks, damage amplification, mobility, and control over enemy movements, he proves to be a formidable force on the battlefield. But Allain has some lackings too. He is vulnerable to crowd control effects that can hinder his mobility, leaving him vulnerable to coordinated gank from opponents. Allain's reliance on mark accumulation means that if he fails to build up enough marks, his skills may not reach their full potential, resulting in decreased damage output. Additionally, his limited range and engagement options make him less effective in long-range engagements or against opponents who can keep their distance. He is also vulnerable to burst damage, and if caught off guard, he may struggle to sustain himself in prolonged fights. Furthermore, Allain's focus on physical damage means he may be less effective against opponents with high physical defense or magical resistance, potentially limiting his impact in certain matchups. However, skilled players who can adapt to these limitations and leverage Allain's strengths through strategic decision-making and teamwork can still find success with him on the battlefield. And that's the new fighter Allain for you. I personally like the idea of bringing Arena of Valor's hero to Honor of Kings. I hope they bring Florentino or Varys to Honor of Kings. Let me know what do you think about this. And as always, thank you for watching.